All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining me. We're really excited about this presentation today. My name is Amy Waugh, and I am the Director of Sales and Marketing here at Regency Oaks. But I am actually really excited to talk about this topic because for several years, my husband and I owned a large moving company that specialized in move management in the area. So I am very well versed in this topic today, and I'm really looking forward to talking about it with all of you. So before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. There's several of us on the call now, and I'm sure there'll be more people that decide to join us. So we are going to keep the phones on mute, and if you think of things along the way, there will be a lot of material that we're going to cover today. So if you have questions, just jot them down, and at the end, you see on your screen, there's a chat button that you can chat. Feel free to type the question as it comes, or you can type it at the end, and we'll make sure to answer all of those at the end. So right now, we are going to have the lines on mute, and we'll answer questions at the end. But if you think of them, go ahead and share away. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and get started. The topic, just to make sure that we're all in the right place, is a move made with ease. And people that are thinking about making a move to Regency Oaks, through the years that I've been here, it's been about 14 years. They're very excited. They're ready for this next step. There's lots of reasons why they've decided to join us. And they get home though, and probably like yourself, they are overwhelmed with the thought of trying to get through their house. And so today we're going to go through a lot of different things with you to help you be more prepared for this next step, because it's a pretty big task that you're about to accomplish with trying to downsize and get moved. So there's lots of reasons probably why you're thinking about moving. People get to this journey for different reasons, and whatever that looks like for you, making the decision to move is a big decision. Trying to decide how to move can be overwhelming. Once you've decided where you're moving, hopefully it's here, it's important to go home and have a plan in place to make the move from your current house to a community or up north or whatever that is as smooth as possible. We move into Regency Oaks between 40 and 60 people a year. So we move a lot of people in, and we've worked with a lot of people who are just like you. They're not sure where to begin. They're very overwhelmed. They want to make sure that they get off on the right foot and make sure that this transition is smooth, right? Because how you start off can really kind of determine what those first couple of months are like when you're transitioning to a community and to this next chapter in your life. So how do you get started? We've kind of summarized this into 9 important steps in order to make a move with ease. And we'll go through some of these slides a little bit slower because there's a lot of information, and there's some really good information, and we want you to be able to take some notes or maybe have questions for the end. So let's go ahead and get started. So the very first thing, and I talk about this with people all day long, in order for you to effectively be able to downsize or right size, as we call it, you need to be able to know the space that you're moving to. If you're moving to from a 2,000 square foot home to a 1,000 square foot apartment, that essentially means that you need to right size 1,000 square feet in your house. So being able to have a floor plan, it will tell you how much furniture can fit, where everything will go, how much closet space that you have, and make sure that you don't bring too much stuff into your new home. Because yes, that's the easiest solution. A lot of people don't want to get rid of anything, so they want to bring everything, and that looks like a hoarder's house when you move in, because you haven't done that downsizing or right sizing, and it really starts everything off for people very stressful because they haven't really taken the time to do the steps to get through everything and touch everything. So creating a floor plan allows us to know exactly how much furniture you're going to bring. We can measure closets and compare that to the closets in your current home, so we know exactly how much closet space that you have. And the most important thing, and you will hear me say this over and over, it really avoids bringing too much stuff. And on the same token, too little. You have a lot of things that you probably want to bring with you when you start to think about in your mind the things that you would take. And you want to make sure that you have the space and you can really bring everything that's most important to you. So one of the other really important first steps is to make a plan. And really, there's some key decisions here that you need to make. First of all, how much of the stuff do you want to move yourself? I would suggest none of it. There's lots of professionals that will do that for you. And for the people that have moved in, of the 40 to 60 people that we work with, that is a nightmare usually to try and make a move. Things get broken, things get lost. It's just a really hard way. So most of the people moving into Regency Oaks, we refer them to a move manager, and that is a business that I used to own. It is absolutely probably worth every single penny that you will invest into that, because they really help you from the start to the finish, making sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed so that this move is as smooth as possible. They make sure that you can bring the right amount of stuff. They make sure to help you find the resources to get rid of the things that you're not bringing. So the first thing I would tell you is a move manager, if you have the opportunity to do it, is the way to go all day long. For a lot of people that self-plan, this whole process can be very overwhelming. And having somebody there on your team to coordinate all of this for you is just worth its weight in gold. And a move manager is a lot different than a mover. A move manager, their rate structure is a little different than a mover. The people and the skill level that work for them is a lot different than a mover. And so, you know, it's really important to understand a mover is really good in the capacity of moving your stuff from point A to point B. But they are not going to get into the nitty-gritty details with you like a move manager would. So just to help you understand the difference, a move manager is different than a mover. Some of the other first key decisions are you going to be placing things into storage? Are they going to be climate controlled? Is it okay to have a non-climate controlled? Do you want it close to where you're going to be living? Are they going to be in plastic bins or boxes? There's a lot of decisions that need to go into that too. If you're planning on bringing more stuff than what your new house will fit, where is that stuff going to go? Everything needs to have a home. The other thing that you want to do is once you establish that you're moving and you've got a moving date, we always tell people to work backwards. So create a timeline for your move based on what your moving date is. That will help you figure out dates that you need to have things sorted in your house, dates that you have the mover set up. You know, that really helps you stay on task with this whole project of moving. So always make sure that you've got a timeline when you've got that move time frame established. And the other thing is, and this is something that we really have gotten people into the habit of that are moving to Regency Oaks, is to keep a notebook of all your to-do items. So besides the move itself, if you're moving to a retirement community like Regency Oaks, you have a lot of stuff here that you're trying to get ready for. You have different contracts or things that you're trying to learn about the community, or if you're moving up north, all the moving pieces that go into a move up there. Maybe you're trying to sell a home here and you're buying a house somewhere else, or whatever that is. There's a lot of details, and having a notebook with you that has your move details, pertinent information to your move, closing details for your home, all in one place, that's easily accessible is really a good thing to do. It's a good practice to get into from the beginning, and something that you would keep with you until the move is complete. So breaking things into smaller tasks. There's a lot of information on this page to think about. Moving and downsizing can be completely overwhelming if you view it as a whole. If you go home and start to look at each room in that house that you're living in right now, it will be very easy, very quickly to get overwhelmed and say, I don't want to do anything. And for a lot of people that we work with, that's a struggle for them. So I always suggest to people to begin in areas of the house that you no longer use. That way it is the least disruptive to your normal life. So really making sure that those rooms that you probably don't use on a daily basis, those are a great place to start. Having a sorting system. So buy a bunch of colored stickers. and have different colors for things that you're keeping, for things that you're donating, for things that you're getting rid of. And that will allow you to quickly walk into a room and know exactly what you're doing with everything in that room. Taking care of a small amount each day. I can tell you that once you start this process, trying to knock out 2 hours a day to downsize and declutter, you will quickly not want to do it anymore. So figuring out what you're capable of in terms of how much you really want to do each day. I would suggest to people, this is new to a lot of people, maybe you've lived in your house for 10 years, 15 years, maybe start with 15, 20 minutes a day and see how much you can get done. And then once you're comfortable, start to do more and more in terms of downsizing and going through your house. Starting with things that are the large pieces first, and then working into the smaller pieces of furniture is a great way to do it. So starting with large pieces of furniture, working towards smaller ones, that will actually make you feel like you have progress. And progress is really important to keep momentum going. And once you see progress, you're going to know that you're getting through this. You've got an end in sight. And so really, you know, look in a room that you're sitting in right now and a large piece of furniture and start there. Like we talked about before, blocking off a certain amount of time each day and sticking with it. And making sure that you have a start time and a stop time so that you're not just endlessly, if you're like me, you know, I set a task for myself and I walk into a room and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get through this. And then 20 minutes into it, I'm like, well, I'm really thirsty. So I'm going to stop and go get a drink. And then I never come back to it. So if you're like me, know that a start time and a stop time and stick with it. Absolutely. And focusing on one area of your house at a time. If you try to deal with the entire house and you sporadically go from room to room, you will find out very quickly that this is overwhelming. And again, you will quit. So focusing on one room of the house at a time, preferably a room that you don't use that much, large pieces of furniture first. And when you work in a room, I always suggest to people to go in a counterclockwise direction or clockwise direction, whatever you prefer. Everybody's different. But working in a clockwise or a counterclockwise progression allows you to see progress also. So that when you're halfway through the room, that part that you've decluttered or you've sorted or you've tagged looks a lot different than that part that you haven't touched yet. So those are really important tips. I know there's a lot on this that we've talked about on this page, but those are some really pivotal things to get this process started. So what's most important? Well, probably you're thinking everything is, because that's what everyone does. And I, used to ask people when we were helping people make a move and getting through large houses or places they've lived in a long time, if you had 5 minutes to get out of your home, what would you want to take? And that is kind of the mindset that you need to adapt, because this will help you determine what you absolutely want to bring with you. It helps you clarify the possessions that are really, really important, not just what you like or you're used to having around, because that's different. What you really like and what's really important is really different than what you're used to just having around. And you need to remember that, because that is going to be the way that you can successfully get through your belongings. Moving can be expensive. So, to bring all this stuff that you really don't need is going to cost you a lot of money in two ways. It's going to cost you a lot of money on the move, and then it's going to cost you money probably when you have to get rid of it, and time and frustration. So really identifying for yourself what is most important. The things that you don't need, not moving those things, and making sure that you take the things that are most important. I assure you that this process will help you identify those things that are most important to bring with you. So I want you to really read this, because people talk a lot about memories, and they talk a lot about things that mean things to them. And Yes, ideally, I'm sure you're thinking in your home that all of the things in your house mean something to you, and rightfully so. Everything has a story. But there's a lot different, there's a big difference in saving those memories and how you can do that, and sharing those memories so that others can enjoy them. As you sort through your possessions, some are easy to part with, obviously, but others have significant value. So everyone has possessions that you keep. Figuring out what you can do with those memories, how they can be saved or how they can be preserved for yourself or future generations is really important. So that's, understanding what you can do with things. Is there a different way that you can save things? For instance, lots of people have lots of photos and photo books and things like that. Can you scan those and store those electronically? Maybe you don't have the space for that huge teacup collection that you have. Could you take pictures of those and display them on a wall so that you can enjoy them every day if you're not bringing that huge china cabinet that they're encased in? For a lot of people that have favorite t-shirts or shirts that are sentimental to them, maybe from different groups or things they've been involved in, can you make those into a quilt? We've actually referred people out for different things like that, that they can sew those into a quilt to have as a memento and something that they can bring with them. So saving those pieces that have value to you and memories, and if they can't be in a physical place in your new home, figuring out how to preserve them in their capacity in your new home is really important. So obviously there's going to be things though that you don't bring with you, things that were important, but they are not the things that you're going to save, but you want to make sure that they have value to the next person that they go to. So there's lots of things in your house right now that probably could go to someone else that could use them, or could know that, and for you to know that those things are being used somewhere. There's tons of agencies and nonprofits out there that can use your goods to benefit others, or they would wisely recycle them. So think about a cause or an interest that's important to you, and how you could support that cause by donating to them. You'd be amazed how many people are out there, and even in these times, would love to get some of the possessions that you can't take with you. And obviously, depending on how much stuff you're bringing or how much stuff you're getting rid of, there's lots of other options out there as well. We work with tons of estate sale companies, online auctioneers. There's just so many resources out there right now to give the things that you're not bringing a new home. So letting the professionals do the moving and packing, I cannot tell you that enough. By having a professional move management company or a mover handle things, a lot of people that move into Regency Oaks that decide to tackle this on their own, we kind of joke that they're in the 6-month unpacking window, because it usually takes them about 6 months to get through all of the things that they've packed. And it also unfortunately results in a lot of times things being broken or scratched or dented or whatever it is. It's worth the extra money, truthfully, to have somebody that does this every day do it, to wrap your furniture, to make sure your breakables are packed correctly, and to make it as efficient as possible. Believe it or not, the way that you pack and the way that a professional moving company or a move manager will pack is 100 times different, probably more like lightning speed. And they do it efficiently and it gets done right. So if you're thinking about packing things on your own, I would highly suggest that you do not do that. Of course you can, but know that you want this new move and new journey to be smooth and start off on the right foot. And having somebody else do that for you really eliminates that stress. You have a lot of details that you're about to wrap up between either selling or purchasing a new house or moving to a retirement community like Regency Oaks or moving up north. To know that that piece is taken care of by somebody that is going to see it all the way through is really important. So create a move day suitcase. You might have heard about doing this before. It's surprising to me still how many people don't do this. There is, besides the packing and the moving and all the things that you're doing when you're getting ready for a move like this, It's important to create a move day suitcase. So it's a suitcase that is going to literally be attached to your wrist from the start of your move through the end of it. And it's going to be all the things that you need right away: clothing, toiletries, medicine, maybe towels, sheets, a flashlight. I always recommend a night light. Things that you have accessible during the first couple of days of your move. So it eliminates having to try and dig through boxes when you're trying to find some of these items, because everything that you will need is in a suitcase, or as we call it, an essentials box. It's the last box packed, and it's the first one unpacked. So really, really make sure that you do something like that. And remember, this is a journey. It's not a race. It's more of a long marathon, and being patient and asking for help. There's going to be lots of people, whether it's your adult children or your neighbors or your friends from church, that are going to want to help you, and let them help you. Know some areas that you need help with. Have them help you with the sorting, or have them help you identify where the things that you're not taking with you could go. That's a very tedious task that people can help you with. Getting some of the downsizing, or the people that you want to donate to, having them help you with that is really important. Just know that the goal is not to get rid of everything in your house. It's really to simplify your life and to embrace where you are at this point in your life and the reasons that you're making this move, and really make sure that new space is right. If you've moved before, which I'm sure all of you have, you know it is very stressful. It's emotionally taxing, mentally taxing, and you may not have moved for a long time. So even though, yes, you did this 20 years ago when you were whatever age, is going to be a lot different than this move that you're about to undertake now. So having others help you and be involved, I cannot tell you enough how really important that is. Give them a task and let them help you. And by doing all of this, you should be able to enjoy your new home. We talk a lot about focusing on this next chapter, embracing the journey. I'm sure there's reasons why all of you are thinking about making this move. And so really keeping those reasons in mind along the way, because you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to want to quit. And you're going to think that the best decision is to just stay in your home. And as all of us can attest with all those people that we work with every year, that is absolutely the wrong decision. You know, when you're thinking about making a move and there's reasons that you need to make this move or want to make this move, those reasons don't go away. So having a plan in place, executing that plan, making a decision to move to a retirement community are all reasons that you do this. Whether you do it now, you do it a year from now, 3 years from now, the decision does not get any easier, and the move does not get any easier. So that's really some reasons to do it now. Make friends while you're still independent and active, and really embrace all of the things that a community like Regency Oaks has to offer. So that actually kind of wraps up our presentation. I know there was a lot of information that we covered, and I'd be happy if anybody has questions and wants to write those in their chat box there, they can. I know that all of you here have been working with Lucy or Judy or Pam, so you're also able to reach out to them via phone or email. And we are recording this presentation. So if you want to go back and reference some things later and maybe, you know, get some ideas that you didn't catch on the call, that would be wonderful too. We'd be happy to share it. So any questions? Actually, it looks like one of the girls were sent one of the questions. Does Regency Oaks help with the move? So that is a great question. Right now, actually, yes, Regency Oaks is helping with the move. We actually are paying a certified move manager in the area to handle all of the aspects of the move for somebody that's considering moving to Regency Oaks. And I will tell you, if you've been thinking about it, the housing market is crazy. Most people are selling their homes that are moving in before we actually get their apartment ready, which brings up a whole nother thing. if you have the ability to select an apartment and kind of get that started before you sell your home, we highly recommend it, because even in the crazy times that we're going through right now, the housing market is still very strong and you can still get top dollar for your house. It looks like the other question is, how much does a move manager cost? So a move manager can range. Like I said, right now Regency Oaks is helping to pay for that move. So that saves you several $1,000s. A move manager can range, they have an hourly rate of between $40 and $50 an hour. They do come to your home and kind of put a plan together with you of what you can bring, where it would go, what you need to downsize. So if you're thinking about making this move, I would highly suggest that you contact one of us and let the move manager come out and do a consultation with you. It's free, there's no charge, and it will help you going back to getting this plan together. It will help you get a plan together. You don't necessarily have to be ready to make a decision on a community or this step, but at least having a plan for your house, I promise you, will help to make some of this not so overwhelming. So another question that we have, can we do a consultation with us prior to a decision so you know what to expect? Yes. So there's a lot of moving pieces that go into making a move, right? And making a decision of where to move. So I would highly suggest, if you haven't been to Regency Oaks in a while, you come and sit with one of the ladies here, depending on which residency counselor that you work with. There's some really great stimulus package pricing going on right now that can save you up to $50,000 depending on the apartment that you're looking at. And they can actually lay all that out for you, figure out the pricing that works best for you. And at the end of the day, if we're not the right fit for you, help you figure out what that looks like for you, because we've created a lot of plans for people and sometimes we're not always the right fit, but we want to help you find what's best for you. And we can also help you figure out some next steps in terms of resources for moving, or the move manager, or whatever that is that you need help with, or realtors. We do have preferred realtors and all that good stuff. So great questions, actually. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. If you haven't already done so, please let us know if you have any questions. We are going to record this, so we're happy to share it with whoever wants it. And thank you all for joining us today. Bye-bye.